This week's episode of I Was a Teenage Film Snob is not brought to you by Choc Tops. Welcome to I Was a Teenage Film Snob. I'm James Chalmers, your friendly neighborhood film snob. And as I mentioned last week, guys, I'm running out of gas. The plutonium, uranium is almost dry. I'm going to have to get this time machine out of the 80s soon. Otherwise, I'm going to get stuck here. But we have enough fuel for one more trip through the 80s. And this week, I'm very happy to welcome back one of my favorite guests. I feel like I said about every guest, but this really is one of my favorite guests. Last time she was here, I opened by calling her a big old dork, and then she proved not to be a dork at all. She was very, very cool, but she has brought maths to the show tonight, so we will have to reassess her cool status. She is very lovely, wonderful, and talented. Please welcome back the amazing Maddie Schultz.
Good evening. Thanks for having me back on. Hooray!
So glad to have you back. I do hope that my time machine does last. We're running on fumes here, but we should be able to get through the 80s in one piece.
I'm sure we'll be okay.
That's it. If not, there are worse places to be stranded, I suppose.
We've got lots and lots of different modes of transport to get us somewhere else.
That's it. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. I keep looking over at my embarrassing map that just everybody needs to know about. You know.
Well, last week you brought in, or not last week, but last time you brought in a big old mind map, which was on like A2 or A1 page. It was huge.
A2. So four A4 pieces of paper put together.
There we go. There's that maths already. This week, I believe you brought a different tool to support you.
I did. I was like, right, can't do a mind map. That's lame. We need to top this. We need to go further. We need to be even more of an absolute loser. So I have done a Venn diagram.
She puts the Venn in vengeance. It's
I put the dia in diagram.
Yeah, it's cool. It's got vengeance. It's got die. Like it's pretty metal.
I mean, clearly it's a high stakes, equation that I've got going on. Clearly, I want to show you my absolute dedication to this podcast and my seriousness in giving good content.
I appreciate it because all of my notes are just on a document, like a little Word file on my phone. So I'm just snooping down my nose in my phone every now and then. But we had a chat.
I can go all over mine like a Zelda map. I don't have to go down a list in one direction.
Sick reference.
you boring man. You have to be able to travel.
Well, we did talk about how I was having some trouble with Zoom. I was like, I don't know if I need to. I was like, wife, help me, please. No, what happened
help me fix the Zoom connections on the internet, please.
Have I clicked the right buttons? Where do you plug the AV cables?
Why can I not see myself?
Well, the problem is because I use her Zoom account for all of the recording, this little behind the scenes that I don't know if listeners are interested in, but there we go. And the other day she was at work and she had to use it, which is fair enough, it's hers, and she logged me out and I couldn't get back in. So I was just like, I need the code.
You were like, wife, can I please have unlocking now?
I was like, I'd like to use the video, please.
Not until you've done your homework.
Oh, man. But we're here. We made it work, which is very, very good. So you made an interesting comment before we started, and interesting as much as I completely forgot. But you were like, so just so you know, I wasn't born in the 80s. Because I always think that you're the same age as Tina and I are very much in that ballpark. You're not that far off. You're not that much younger than us, but you are a 90s kid. So one thing we've been talking about through this series is the 80s even relevant to you? What does it mean to you? Or are you just kind of like, it was a time and I don't really care about it?
Well, I was thinking about that because I listened back to your episode with Tina because I can't get enough of Tina when I miss her. If there's a podcast with her voice in it, I'll put it on just to feel close to my friend. But I was listening to her and like how she sort of spoke about what the 80s meant to her. And yeah, I've only got what the media has left behind. I've only got what films or what world events or political figures, etc. I've only got their legacy or what they've left behind to base my judgments off. So like it's not real. My complete understanding or my complete grasp of the 80s or vibe of the 80s is complete fallacy, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird knowing that, I guess.
I mean, I asked that question as if I lived through the 80s, but like I was born in 88. So like I didn't experience the 80s. Like, do you know what I mean? I literally, like, my formative years were the 90s, like most people on the show. But I always go back to the music, like almost more than the movies. I feel like the 80s, like if you're looking for like something to define it, all you have to do is crank on any track from the 80s, and you're like, that is exactly what that decade was.
I'm incredibly visual, and so like the fashion sticks out to me. Like
Yeah.
I could almost feel that really rough, thick, solid denim, or like, you know, the smell of the hairspray in all of the teased and permed hair. And I feel like that's got more of a connection for me, the tactile or the smell rather than,
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I think there's a lot of leather or pleather. I think there's a lot of scarves. I think there's a lot of animal print.
Yeah, but like the sound of boots, even like heavy boots, or
I think you're the first person to bring up the fashion, and like it's which is interesting because it is so definitive. Like, and not the previous decades didn't have fashion. Like you look at the 70s and definitely the 50s and 60s, you can tell. And then everything before that, everyone just sad.
Everyone's clothes were just black and white, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. The world was like, what was your style? Sad. And then in the 50s and 60s, everything kind of pops. And you have that mod kind of look, and then obviously the 70s goes a bit darker again, and more kind of hippie-ish and long flowing clothes, and then and a lot of fringe on jackets and shirts and stuff in the 70s. But then the 80s is this colorful explosion of like animal and denim, and very interesting.
But I find it so interesting that like the men's clothing, you can tell is like thicker, heavier, louder, stompier, and the women's is like how little can I wear, how stretchy, like
lycra. Yeah, a lot of that
lycra.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought it up because, as I said, no one's really mentioned the fashion yet, but that is such a obvious one. I always think of, I don't know if you've ever watched this show, and I know we don't really talk about TV, but I'll make an exception. This sitcom called The Goldbergs, which is all about the 80s, and like all they do is reference 80s movies, 80s pop culture, that sort of thing. And like the mom is just constantly like jazzercising, wearing like she's got like the lycra pants and like the lycra top, whatever, which has like the G string in it. But
it's a built-in,
it's got the
Leo.
butt floss, but obviously then you wear the pants beneath it, so it's not rude.
So
but
then it's suddenly modest. Yeah,
it's a really weird decision. And like, this is what people are going to exercise in. This is comfortable.
Like just wear a top and shorts. Why do you? Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, that's what I do when I get a chance, when I try to exercise. It's just like, what's tracky pants, shorts, done.
That'll do.
That was very Aussie of me. Yeah, tracky pants. Let me get trackies. Let me get me bloody trackies on. That's about as I don't get very Aussie. You turned it down. The last time you were on, you're like, "G'day." That's the way.
My g'day, good on me. Yeah, but then people were making fun of me because I think Dave Hughes says it, and I was like, "Oh no."
Oh no, I wouldn't go that far.
I was talking to Tina about saying g'day all the time. It's my like accidental default to like random, like when I'm walking around the schoolyard and a teacher walks past that I don't really know by name or anything, they're always like, hello, really politely. And I'm always like, g'day. And then as I walk, as we've passed each other, I'm sort of in my own head like, what the fuck was that? Why?
Batting the corks away from your face.
Oh, and then of course I'll go back to the staff room and be like, Tina, it fucking happened again.
I like how that's your "it happened again" moment.
Oh,
usually say for people following a werewolf transformation, be like, "It happened again."
I said g'day. Yeah, like you know how like a kid like looks up at their mom after the mom embarrasses them and goes, "Mom, why are you so embarrassing?" Like I just do it to myself. Why?
Your kid has got a lot to look forward to.
She'll be like, Mum, you're embarrassing. And I'll be like, I'm sorry, I know, I can't help it. It won't stop.
Yeah, your kid's pretty cool. Like, no offense, but you're going to be, she's going to leave you in her tracks very quickly. My kid too. Like, my kid's infinitely cooler than I'll ever be.
Oh, it's so weird. How did that happen?
Well, but they got dorks for parents. That's what it is.
True. They need to go the opposite direction. So.
Yeah, we're like, please be cooler than us. Like, just don't do what we did. Learn from our mistakes. This is derailed very quickly, which I was like, it's going to happen. I'm very excited. If I talk to Maddie, it is going to derail. I also learned, and we're definitely getting off track, but I need to bring this up. I had a very interesting conversation with my wife a couple of weeks ago in preparation for Zoe's birthday party. We didn't have a show drop that weekend because it was very much party mode. And she goes, I spoke to Maddie, and Maddie said, now, Tina, do you have jobs for James to do? Because if you don't, I will distract him.
Like in the morning, it's a big deal, and the family come around, and you want to keep your house clean, and clean the toilets. And then I knew that she'd want Zoe to eat and go to sleep, and then she'd want to have a shower and do her makeup, and I knew that there'd be jobs that you would have to do. And I was like, fuck, I'm useless. I'm just going to come and bugger it all up, and I'm just going to distract her. I'm going to distract you. And I really, like, at least if I know what your jobs are, I can be like, let's shut up, quick, go to the vacuuming. Or like, I was so stressed about that because I just knew I would derail the two of you.
I said to her, it's just pretty rich of Maddie to just assume that I'm that distractible, that just her presence will maybe like, what was I doing?
Do you remember hanging outside for like 45 minutes with the girls?
Yeah, but that was okay. That was a task. That was like, just watch the kids. We'll have a shower. I was like, all right, no worries.
Yeah, true. We were doing good then. Yeah.
I have been married long enough, been in a relationship long enough to know that if there is a job to be done, the job gets done. Otherwise she has to do the job, but then like I don't want to do that to her. That's not fair.
I've been around long enough to know that if something's going to be derailed, it's going to be derailed by me.
Well, that's
hence
true.
The warning.
Oh, too funny. But that's good. That's why you're here. I'm like, I love a derailed conversation. And there's always a lot of fun tangents there. So you've got a list of 5, is that right? Because I've had a look at your Venn diagram, and there's definitely more than 5 on there.
Yes.
You brought in a couple
I have
of
two. I have two lists of 5.
What?
I have 2 lists of 5.
Oh my goodness, this is going to be a long episode.
No, we're not talking about the first list, but the first list. The first list is like the nostalgia, like the ones that, everybody loves, the cult classics. Like, of course I love these, and I'm going to mention that I love these because
yeah, of course, good stuff.
Of course. But then I've called them the slower but growers. They're the ones that are like
sounds vaguely dirty, but I'll allow it.
A dirty mind is an awful thing to waste.
Yeah.
They're the ones that like I saw, I think, later when I was older, and I've seen them lots more, and I've tightened my grip, and they're the ones that I'm most passionate about now, other than like Star Wars and Blues Brothers. Like,
nice. That's what I did with my list as well. Yeah. I came in and I said, look, obviously I like Star Wars. Obviously I like Indiana Jones, all that sort of thing. So here are 5 that I love. I also watched all of them later in life, with the exception of Blues Brothers. I put it on my list because A, it is one of my favorite films of all time, and B, no one at that point had mentioned Blues Brothers. I'm like, this is going to be a real shame if no one brings it up, so I'm going to bring it up. But everything else, I was like, look, these are great flicks that I love. I watched them in my late 20s, but these flicks, not only are they, really wonderful stories for their time, they hold up. And, and the 80s, like, first of all, it's a time, when they're starting to play with visual effects, they're starting to try a few different things, and the quality is very hit and miss, in as much as like, the nostalgia might not be enough to keep it going. Like sometimes,
it's a risk. You're sort of like, wow, yeah.
And we were talking about Weird Science before we started. I think it was before we started recording. Maybe we talked about we did. Because we're talking about the weird sexual tropes of 80s films. Weird Science is one of those films where like it's really fun, but there are some very casual uses of slurs in there that you could get away with in the 80s. So it's like, well, are we still doing that? Like, that's not really okay anymore.
Yeah, now it's uncomfortable to watch some of those bits that it sort of taints the movie. It sort of is taints the right word? Taints.
Yes.
Taints. I don't know.
You're saying taint too much.
Yeah, now I'm sort of like,
But
I'm not
taints is
an English teacher, people. Okay,
taints is the correct phrase. Oh, I'm so glad you're back.
Sorry.
No, this is amazing.
Well, yeah, with my to work out like because I've did pretty much what a few other people have done and gone, crap, I don't really watch 80s films, or I didn't really like the mainstream comedy styling of 80s films, or like the bravado action films. Like I thought I didn't like them, but so I had to do my Venn diagram to like figure out like which films I'd seen, and then actually noticed that I had enjoyed a lot more than I thought, which was really fun. But
well, those 80s comedies can be very problematic because whilst they're very fun, they're very. I was gonna say misogynistic is too tough a word, but no, they're very misogynistic, and often those films, the only reason a girl is in it is to get her boobs out.
Yeah, well,
which is like, hey, that's fine, but give them something else to do. Like, she can be funny and get her boobs out. Like, why limit her to one skill set?
Yeah. I sort of scrolled through some lists on the internet to try and sort of narrow it down, and like I've realized like I haven't seen like any, I think Leslie Nielsen stuff. Was his stuff in the 80s?
Oh yeah, Naked Gun.
Okay. Yeah.
Airplane or Flying High, we call it here in Australia.
Leslie Nielsen. I haven't seen Caddyshack or.
Oh yeah,
but
that's
those
a really
ones,
good one. Yeah,
but they don't interest me. Like I just don't. Like I don't know really anything about them, but for some reason in the back of my mind, I just know that the style of the comedy just won't reach me. So I'm just I'm just not going for it. So
Naked Gun's a tough one now because O.J. Simpson is one of the leads in all three films.
Okay, so problematic.
Problematic. Like it's one of those things where, like, I think if you grew up with it, you're able to separate art from artist to the point where, like, look.
Yeah.
And he's like, obviously, like, I don't even like. Obviously, do you know what I mean? You don't even need to go to like just he's a bad character, but like there's enough in him. Like, look, I can separate art from artist enough to enjoy the film for the parts I do. Flying High is wonderful. I haven't seen it in a number of years, but it's really, really good. And it's kind of like the birth, and I would even say the perfection of that spoof comedy. That kind of like,
okay.
I often hear people describe, there's a time before and after Scary Movie. And after Scary Movie is when subtlety went out the window. And Naked Gun and those films are a little bit more, I don't say nuanced because that's not true, but they're just a little bit more palatable, and they're not too on the nose. They're kind of just like, hey, like, they're a little bit more well balanced, I think. But yeah, Flying High is wonderful, really good fun.
Okay.
And Leslie Nielsen isn't the main actor, and he is in it, but he's playing a more supportive role, which I think if you're not into his style of comedy would work better as well, because I love his comedy. I grew up on that. That's what my dad raised me on. But if you're not into that style of comedy, it can be very annoying.
Yeah, I think that that's the style that I just probably can't get into because I wasn't exposed when I was younger to that sort of comedy. And so as an adult now, like you're right, some of the themes or some of the like choices in those films don't hold up. So then I'm just I'm too critical. I get pulled out of just enjoying the comedy. And
well, one of my favorite jokes from that movie is that there's the three pilots. You've got the I don't even know how you describe. I don't know what the roles in operating a plane are, but there's three of them, and there's like
you have a captain, like a co-captain, and then
pilot, co-pilot, and there's like a navigator or whatever. And it's like pilot. It's like their surnames are Clarence, Under, and Roger, I think. And there's a whole bit where they're like, what's our clearance, Clarence? What's our over under? What Roger? Something like that. It's like, it's really, really silly like jokes, but like gets me every time. Like, oh, I like that. So.
But it's a who's on first, what's on second.
Yes, it's absolutely that.
Yeah.
Excellent. But Naked Gun, Flying High, not on your list.
No, I just don't think so.
Interesting. Alrighty. So do you want to go through like those ones that like your near misses first, or you want to go straight into like, hey, here's my list, and then I'll talk about the stuff that's obvious?
I'll rattle off the nostalgia faves.
Go for it.
The ones that hit the middle of the Venn diagrams.
I'm still so thrilled that you did a Venn diagram.
I had to nerd out. So, of course, Star Wars is at the top. Like, it's just Yeah, like these are the films that I'm like, no, like I will never not like these films. I will never not really be excited for the day I can show these to my kids. Or yeah, so
Nice one.
Star
And
Wars.
is it just Empire, or do you go for Return of the Jedi as well? Are they both up there for you?
Oh, they're both bloody glorious, but
Yep.
Empire's my favorite.
It's
just
genius.
but it's only edged, slightly above the
Wow. Okay.
but
Interesting.
it's the top. And then Back to the Future, Blues
Love Back to the
Brothers,
Future.
Land
Yep.
Before Time, and Big Top Pee-wee are tied for fourth, and Gremlins is fifth.
Interesting. Gremlins. I think Josh talked about Gremlins. I can't remember now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gremlins is a weird one. Like I love Gremlins, but it's really dark.
Yeah. Do you remember how we were talking about how, like, if a scary movie is like gory, if it's suspenseful or whatever, I can't cope. But if it's gory, I can. And I think that's about Gremlins. Like that kitchen scene with the mum. She's an MVP, by the way. We spend the whole film trying to kill like one gremlin. She walks into the kitchen and she kills 4, like straight up.
Yeah.
Like a blender, she stabs with a knife, blows one up in the microwave, and she throws another one in the fucking fire. Like, get her out there. Why are we wasting time with the 2 teenagers? The mum can just handle them.
I definitely get the gore thing. Tina's the same. Like that's why I tend to show her slashes, because slashes aren't really scary. They're quite violent, but like you can see it coming most of the time. So yeah, I think blood and gore. I think a lot of people who are a bit unsure about horror tend to lean more to that, whereas the suspense or like well, with Tina, I always say that the rule are no ghosts, no children, no mirrors. That's Tina's rules for enjoying a horror film. But yeah. There's also that really messed up scene where like they talk about like the dad committing suicide, but like he's dressed up as Santa.
How he falls down the chimney and like dies in the chimney as Santa. But like the best bit about that is like the delivery. I think they deliberately did like 2 takes of that, and then they chose to like pick the one that was really ambiguous, because then the audience could kind of decide if it was funny or not. Like, it was a deliberate decision to be like, is this a sad story, or are you meant to kind of giggle at it? Like, it's
definitely
so fucked and so evil and so great.
It's the 80s was this time where they really did comedy horror well. Like, and they've brought it back since then. There's definitely some good ones out there. Like, I wouldn't call it a comedy, but Get Out, I think, is a perfect example of a film that is a horror film. But it's also, when it's meant to be funny, it's really funny and very awkwardly funny. And obviously Shaun of the Dead does a little bit of that as well. But a lot of the time when they do comedy horrors, it's just like, it ends up being silly. But these films like Gremlins and particularly Ghostbusters, which is another one like that, when it's meant to be scary, it's scary. Like even today, and when it's meant to be funny, it's funny and really enjoyable. Plus Gremlins, always gets my vote because it's got Phoebe Cates, who is one of the greatest actresses of the 80s full time. Nothing but love for Phoebe Cates, but Gremlins is a good one.
And there's a dog in it, and the dog doesn't die.
Yep.
That's good.
Always a win.
Love having a dog in there that doesn't die. But I think the bit that I still hold on to, so I liked it as a kid, I liked it as a teen, and I like it as an adult, because I'm still obsessed with like the effects. I'm still the practical effects. Like they're so simple in terms of like figuring out how they're going to do something, and you kind of know what they've done, but you love it. Like there's a gremlin spinning on a fan, so they've literally like stuck a puppet to the fan and turned the fan on. But
exactly.
It's wild. It looks so good. Or like Stripe's been melted down, right at the very end, and he's like goo, but the goo's like breathing, and like clearly it looks like a bubble, and it is. It's a bubble or a balloon. Like
exactly.
I love it.
Well, they did this thing in the 80s. It was big in the 80s, especially in horror, where they would do that ballooning. And there's one movie, I can't remember what it's called, and I think it was called like Maniac or something. And they're like, yeah, we took the ballooning too far in that. And like, because all it was literally just like a pump under like a latex mask. And they just turn on an air pressure and just like let it expand. And like this one movie, Maniac, I think it was called Maniac. I can't remember. I think it was called Maniac. That was his whole transformation. Just keep ballooning and ballooning and ballooning. And like, yeah, we went overboard with it in that one, but it's all we had access to. So
it was probably cheap too.
Yeah, it was very big in the 80s. And then Pee-wee.
Big Top Pee-wee.
Is that the one with is that the one where it's like everyone's got a big butt? Let's talk about your big butt. Is that the one? Is that it? Or is that a different Pee Wee
I
film?
remember that. It's the one where the circus come and like take over his farm.
I remember thinking of Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Big Adventure. So Big Adventure's when his bike gets stolen and he thinks it's at the Alamo.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
And that's, I think that was Tim Burton's, like, he did Frankenweenie first, and then they were like, hey, this guy's weird enough to do Pee Wee, so let's put him on Pee Wee. And I loved it. Yeah, Pee Wee's Big Adventure is amazing. But yeah, I think for me personally, I just liked the circus one, the idea of running away with the circus or all the animals and the trapeze and
I don't know that I've seen Big Top Pee Wee. You could have put that on your main. Like, you're like, these are the ones that everyone loves. No one has mentioned Pee Wee. Like, you could have been.
What? I thought it was like, a cult classic sort of, we don't need to talk about them because everybody knows them.
Oh, no, definitely bring it. Like, bring Pee Wee because, yeah. And that's not saying it's not a classic, but yeah, most people I've spoken to, like, have not, like, Pee Wee has not been mentioned. I think Pee Wee's a very acquired taste. The whole la la la, like that kind of.
And every 10 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, that's a solid Pee Wee impression. That's it. It's really scary how good it is, to be honest, Maddie.
I watched it a lot. I can even do the dance, the tequila dance.
Yeah, and I don't think Tina's seen any of the Pee Wee stuff. I don't know why I think this, and I've never confirmed it, but I feel like she is repulsed by Pee Wee.
I reckon show a Big Top before Big Adventure. Because Big Adventure has this narrative that you're like, and you're here, and then there's this person and this character and their problems, and then suddenly we're over here, and then we're in a car, and then we're with an ex-con, and then we're suddenly in a hotel that looks like a dinosaur. Like, it's really erratic, which is hard to keep like interested in maybe as an adult. But if you're show a Big Top, because at least we're in one spot, we've got like a main goal of like the farm and helping the circus, and I reckon show her that one first. But yeah, warn her that he's an acquired taste. He has the most beautiful, gorgeous skin and straightest flippin' teeth I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
There is no other actor out there that has his skin and his teeth. They're flawless.
He's still at it, Paul Rubens. He's still doing all sorts of crazy stuff. I think he had a Pee Wee show not long ago, actually. I think he was still doing Pee Wee on one of the streaming services only a couple of years ago.
That would make sense, though, because I was talking to Dave about this, about how, like, I wasn't sure. I'm like, was he like a comic book character first and then Rubens brought him to life? And then we looked it up, and no, he was just like a comedic character of his, sort of like, what is it, Dame Edna's, Barry Humphries. It's one of their stage characters, and I just had no idea. And then I thought, Jesus, imagine playing that. Like that's who people go to see for major comedy gigs all the time. Like, what does he do on stage? I want to know what he does. Like, because Dame Edna's just a bitch and just like heckles everyone. Yeah. Like, what does Pee Wee do? Just like
no jokes, no props, just that for now straight.
He just picks things up and like looks at them and laughs, or like, like, I don't know. Sorry, I'll stop doing a laugh.
It's really good. It's really good. Yeah, I haven't seen Big Top Pee Wee. I've seen Pee Wee's Big Adventure. I'm pretty sure, because there's a bit where he's like sitting. Yeah, I only remember that one line, and he's sitting up like in like I feel like a giant donut or something with a girl, and like the girl's boyfriend or like the guy who's into that girl hears him and obviously mishears the conversation, because she's like, basically she's like, I want to be a star, but, and he goes, everyone's got a big butt. What's your, tell me, let's see your big butt or whatever. And then the guy's like, what?
He's listening in at the door like, what is this conversation with my woman? Yeah.
Yeah. Paul Rubens, what a crazy guy. He was in Batman Returns as well.
Was he in a Home Alone film as a bellhop, or am I imagining that?
No, I know who you're thinking of. You're thinking of Lost in New York, and it's a very young, we were also talking about him before the show, Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider, okay. Oh,
you got your
so
staff in that movie are Rob Schneider and Tim Curry.
Tim Curry, well, of course. Yeah.
That's a great movie as well.
I know.
And I know we're still in August, or it'll be September when this episode goes up.
Oh, can't wait for Christmas.
We're getting close to Christmas, and we're doing Christmas episodes. So.
Oh, so excited.
Okay, so those movies aren't on your list.
No, they're on my like forever I will always love you list. Yeah. But they're not the ones that I'm like, damn, I want to talk about these today.
Nice one. Well, everyone should check out Pee-wee. If you haven't seen Pee-wee, even just quickly YouTube like Pee-wee's voice, and you will realize how terrifyingly accurate Maddie is.
I'm not doing it again.
I'm going to take snippets of it and send as my ringtone. Just like
try and do like a personalized message.
James can't come to the phone right now.
I said it more Marvin.
Yeah, I know. Marvin the Martian. Yeah, I can't do.
Prepare to be annihilated.
Yeah, I haven't been as exposed to Pee-wee as you have. So. Excellent. All right, well, let's jump into your... I've lost control of the show.
We need like one of those stage hooks to just drag us off stage, just smack us in the face and say, get
Snagglepuss, exit stage left. I didn't tell you this, but I've been up since 4:30. Zoe woke me up very early this morning, so
oh dear.
I'm a little bit loopy, but that's okay. All right,
list.
Lemon Face. We'll get into your top 5. What is number 5 on your 80s list?
Number 5 on my slower but grower is Pretty in Pink.
Interesting. John, I was not expecting you to pull out a John Hughes film, based on the conversation we had the other day about your, dislike for Ferris Bueller. I was like, generally, if people don't like Ferris Bueller, they don't like any. Pardon me, John Hughes. Pretty in Pink. One that I have not seen. I think it's one of the few John Hughes films I haven't seen. Tell me about Pretty in Pink.
I saw it as, I don't know, it must have been mid-20s, I think is the first time. I was like, I'm going to start looking at these old 80s romances because I do like romances and I do like
I didn't know that about you either.
No, I do. I like them. I just do. I do. They're sort of comforting. You know where they're going to go. If they don't go where you think, that's even better. Yeah, no, I like a good romance.
And is this the one with Ducky? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
And so that's why. That's my main. Yeah, Molly Ringwald's arc is fine. It drives the plot. Her big reveal at the end I don't get, but that's because I think the dress is heinous and she looks like a napkin and I don't like it. But Ducky, can't remember what his name is. Who plays
John Cryer?
John Cryer, yeah. So
he's 1.5 men.
Yeah. He's the shorter one of the two. Not the shortest, but the shorter one of the brothers. His performance, his dialogue, his delivery, his like commitment, his body language I really respond to in terms of just his like these rolly heads and his rolly shoulders, and he breaks the fourth wall, and you know what I'm talking about to the audience. And I'm all up for someone being an absolute loser and just doing it anyway and going for it and putting it all out there. I love his character. And what's her face who is in Ghostbusters? Ghostbusters, what do you want?
Annie Potts. She's also the voice of Bo Peep in the Toy Story films.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Aww.
And I was wrong. It wasn't John Hughes. He wrote it, but it was Howard Deutsch that directed it. So
okay, but it's still like
it's still
pulling out the same. Yeah, it's still pulling out the same flavors.
It's not a true John Hughes film because it doesn't have Anthony Michael Hall in it. So.
Or one of the Estevezes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I think I enjoy. The pace is still good. The context is still good, but the Ducky character, I'm a sucker for a dorky best friend who's loyal and there to the end, but he also sticks up for himself. And I like that he sticks up for himself and tells her that I've fallen at your feet long enough and you're treating me like shit, so I'm done and you need to figure yourself out first.
And is he also so he's tragically in love with her as well?
Oh, desperately in love with her. But he also she knows. She's not ignorant to it.
She's just stringing him along.
I don't know. I think she's just hoping that he'll grow out of it sort of thing and not wanting to confront
You're like my little brother. Like
Well, no, she's not even saying that. I think she just sort of does the whole like, oh, Ducky, let's study. Like she's just trying to, not have to have that conversation, I think. Yeah. But yeah, he's wonderful.
Nice one. Yeah, as I haven't said, you've got Harry Dean Stanton as well, who was old in the 80s.
It's very problematic because he looks like one of the teachers.
Was that from the soundtrack?
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that song was in the Pretty Pig soundtrack. He looks like one of the teachers. It's a big musical number, if I remember correctly. He looks like one of the teachers. He looks like one of the teachers. They're all like clicking. They push the cafeteria tables to the side as they start.
Do jazz hands, jazz hands.
It's like a scene out of Fame. Yeah, he was pretty old in the 80s. So it's as mentioned in that number one hit, it's very problematic. I do like Harry Dean Stanton though, so glad he got the work, even if it was very creepy. Excellent.
That's my number five.
Nice one. Never been mentioned on the show, so good one to see. And you said you were going for some more unique ones there, so no, good one. And now you make me want to watch it, which is the wonderful side effect of this show is I just get more recommendations of things that I haven't seen, which is good.
So that list will be getting longer and longer and longer.
Oh man, and if you see what I post online, like I'm trucking through so much stuff and just not even making a dent.
I'll say, but there's no way you're keeping up with what's been added to that list, though.
A friend of mine messaged me today. She goes, because I told her, I'm going to be doing a big movie order this week because she's willing to film as well. I only talk to people who like movies. Otherwise, just get out of my life. And she's like, you must have about all of the movies by now. And I was like, you are sadly mistaken.
You're like, no.
Not even close. It's depressing, but maybe one day. Great choice, Pretty in Pink. And as I said, really made me want to watch it now. I would just know I'm going to be disappointed when that song doesn't show up because it's not real.
Nah, sorry. It's just on constant loop in my head all the time.
Yeah, you know how I said that You Doing Pee-wee was my new ringtone? I just found a new one.
It's very problematic because he looks like a teacher.
Oh god, that's genius. Okay. People listening to this, because normally we're like, geez, he's normally got a handle on things, but he's broken tonight.
No.
Oh god. Okay. Pretty in Pink.
Pretty in Pink.
What
it's a serious film.
What is number 4?
Number 4 is a tie between The Natural with Robert Redford.
Thanks, Alma.
Which I've spoken about before.
Yes, you told me. Was it on your last list?
Yes, it was.
Is it a horse one?
No, it's a baseball.
That's right. Yes, we're talking about sport movies, and you're like, "Do you like sport movies?" I was like, "I've seen Bender like Beckham."
Nah, The Natural is. If you liked The Sting, you'll like The Natural.
I still haven't watched The Sting, but I'm looking forward to watching The Sting.
You'll like both, I promise. It's So anyway, in a nutshell, Robert Redford is a up and coming baseball extravaganza of a man, and his debut career gets derailed from an injury. I won't tell you how, but then he pops up later on as an older guy, and everyone's like, well, you're too old, and he's still got it, and he's still good, and then he joins the league, and it helps the team become great again, et cetera, and people from his past come back into the woodwork, and but Robert Redford is just like, that man doesn't have to do much with his face for you to really just know exactly what he's saying to you in his head. Like the side eyes or the stare downs, or, like there's a moment where he's in the batting cages and they're all looking at him being like, oh, this old dude, as if he can hit a ball very well at all. And the pitcher's being all up himself and bravadoed, and like just the look that he has on his face is just sort of like fuck off, wait and see. Like it's so I don't have to prove anything to you. And he doesn't say a word, but he's just brilliant. And it's, a beautiful color scheme. The color scheme to the film is warm and rich, and I think it's set in the 40s. Oh, I'm not sure, 30s, 40s. I couldn't tell you.
I hope you're okay after that weird shut.
I don't know. I don't know what it's set. But it looks very, beautiful. Very beautiful golden age of Hollywood looking color schemes. And
nice one.
Yeah.
I don't mind a bit of Redford. I haven't watched a lot. I recently picked up, still haven't watched, but picked up Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. So
excellent.
Very much looking forward to it.
Yeah. Is there a penny farthing in that film?
Oh, well, I have yet to watch it, so I don't know.
Tell me. Text me if there is.
The moment I see it, if I see one, I'll just recreate that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where I'm like pointing at the TV.
Good. Otherwise, I've dreamt up a penny farthing into the film, and that's a weird thing to do. I just like
to imagine that you think every film has a penny farthing in it somewhere. Was there a penny farthing in Avengers? I could have sworn Hulk was writing
the greatest, buddy films must have a penny farthing.
I also watched, and I know I'm getting off track again, but because you were talking about love stories and also talking about classic golden age cinema, I did get around to watching Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Well done.
And I know you're a big Burton Taylor fan, and it was wonderful.
Yes. Those two can act.
Yeah. And it's just, someone asked me, they go, what's that about? I'm like, well, it's really hard to explain the nuance of it. And if I tell you what it is in the basic plot, you're going to think it's dumb. But pretty much two people have an argument for 2 hours and make another couple very uncomfortable.
That's pretty much it. Just they're fierce.
They are, and it's very full on for a movie of its time. Apparently, it was like one of the first films to have like a restricted warning over it. They're like, maybe you shouldn't take the kids to see this because they get rowdy in this film. But yeah. It was a good one. I liked it. I was just passing that on because you were like, you got to watch some Burton and Taylor. I have taken my first step. I've dipped my toe in the lake that is Burton and Taylor.
Yay. Very, very good. I clap. Yeah.
Thank you. I really went out of my way to make a huge effort there by sitting down and watching a film. So The Natural, getting back on track, is one of two. You've tied.
Yes.
So you have 6 on your top 5.
I just couldn't. I couldn't.
Or are you like, no. And then I've got equal third, equal second.
No. I've only got an equal fourth.
That would be amazing if you did.
You'll be happy with this next choice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uncle Buck.
Oh, classic.
Oh, classic.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but that film, the first time I saw it, would have been almost 20, and so it was already like over 20 years old and just held up ridiculously well.
Yeah.
It feels like, or it almost feels like a Home Alone prequel because most of the cast, a lot of the cast are in there.
Yeah. And it's similar. It sort of, it's got a similar sort of vein of comedy in terms of like, there's funny things, but they're things that probably hurt, or they're things that probably should be serious, or
One of my favorite moments, it's very early on. I can't remember what the exact line is, but like Macaulay Culkin is like, he's being inquisitive. He's asking about the human body, and I think it's like, what's another word for balls? It's like nuts.
Nuts. I think I watched that film as a young kid, so I could identify with the younger kids. And I watched it again sort of a bit older, so I could identify with the older person, like with the teen daughter. And then I watched it again, even older, and I could not identify with, but, you sort of, you pay more attention to the nuances of the adult characters. And so it was fun doing that at all different stages. And just the delivery of some of the bloody excellent writing, fantastic lines. Like, I wish I could drive around in his car and have it backfire and have everyone duck as like shit terror. Or like when he goes to pick up the eldest daughter because she's out with that dude whose name's Bug. Like, why is his name Bug? That's weird.
It's an 80s film, man. Like, and it's John Hughes. Like, a few years later, he has an older brother called Buzz. So
That's
I was
right.
wrong. I was like, this has, I was like, this feels like a prequel to Home Alone. It has one actor from Home Alone, Macaulay Culkin.
It has two. John Candy was in Home Alone.
Yes, he was. Good point. Good point.
Do you know John Candy got paid less than the actor who did the pizza guy?
Wow.
He turned up and he and John Hughes are like, or Chris Columbus or John Hughes? I think him and John Hughes are like buddy mates. And so he's like, yeah, screw it, I'll come. I'll be in Home Alone, but I'll just turn up for a day. And don't worry about paying me. You don't have to pay me. I'll just turn up for a day. So he turned up for like a day and they did like a 4 a.m. to like 4 like midnight shoot. Yeah, like they just, and that was, and of course, like John Hughes is so obsessed with his lines being delivered right, and Chris Columbus doesn't really like rewrites either, but they were just like, nah, John Candy gets to say whatever the flip he wants. And so he did. He just turned up for a day, messed around, did all his lines, and in the end they're like, well, we should pay you something, but they paid him less than the nobody teenager who played the pizza delivery guy.
That's crazy.
Like, what a legend.
If you had like gun to my head been like, who plays the parents in Uncle Buck, I would be like, oh, it's the same parents from Home Alone. Like I literally had erased the other actors from that existence.
Nah. Different peeps.
I thought it was Catherine O'Hara. I was like, I would have sworn it was, but
nah.
But
the parents are forgettable. They're not there for most of the film.
Yeah. I don't know why I thought that, but anyway.
I just love John Candy. I love the way he
so good.
He always has this expression of just pure like gorgeous, happy like child almost. Or if he's been caught out, it's just such a little sweet like I've done something stupid. I really enjoy him. Really enjoy his acting.
Well, we talked about Blues Brothers briefly, and doesn't have a huge role in that flick, but gee, like every time he's on screen.
You're watching him. You're not watching anyone else.
Yeah. Like when they all rock up at the Palace Hotel ballroom to arrest them, he's like, we should stay and enjoy the show, right? Like, let's just, they're meant to be musicians. Let's just see what they're like.
They're not going anywhere. They're on stage. We can see them. Like, what's your hurry?
Yeah. Genius. And then I always also think of Stripes, which I don't know if you've seen, but definitely one of those more problematic 80s comedies.
It's on my list. Yep, Stripes is on my list. It's in my Venn diagram circle of movies for boys to men.
Boys to men.
Or boys to men. Yeah.
Did they go to Russia in Stripes? Because if they did, that was a great little link there. I think they do go to Russia.
Oh, potentially. I'm just remembering like lots of the military scenes and stuff. Yeah. And has John Candy in that film got a really, really hilarious buzz cut? Like he's got, is he like buzzed on the sides, but like flat top on the top?
Yeah, he does. And he has a very infamous mud wrestling scene as well.
Oh, yes, I forgot. Oh,
yeah.
Bless him. And he's wrestling the women. Yeah.
Like it's two naked women in him. And I was just like, did John Candy write this scene? Because it feels very deliberate.
Well, maybe they were fully clothed and he goes, come on, ladies, let's just...
Yeah, it's like, hey, guys, it's a comedy film.
Yeah,
you've
got it. You know what we expect, yeah.
Yeah, you know that, like, if you want this film to be memorable...
If I'm topless, you're topless.
That's crazy. I love John Candy.
I really like John Candy, yeah.
Uncle Buck, great pick.
Uncle Buck. Yeah.
I got to rewatch. I haven't seen it in so long. It's a good one though.
There's really good like cuts of music as well. Like you've got moments of just like sort of I'm guessing it would just be undertone, cinematic music underneath, but you're not really paying attention. But then there's just moments of like a real hard hitting, excellent, just sort of song that like chops in at the right moment. Like those editors know when that music needs to come in to do its job, and like there's some really just great editing, great marriage of music versus the action on the screen, or very clever.
It's got Mr. Sandman in it, which is a great song. I got to go back and rewatch it. Like I've slept on this one for too long. It's such a classic film.
Like when he says to Macaulay Culkin, I think he's like, "Did you brush your teeth?" Yes. Did you run your toothbrush under the faucet to make me think you brush your teeth, because I have a friend down at the police department who's in forensic and he can test your, he just knows what to say, because he's a bullshitter and he knows how to test it out. The kids bullshitting. Yeah. Great.
Solid. Great. Another one. So far, you three. I mean, I know that there's technically 4 parts, 1 and 2. No one has listened to any of your films, so you are on a tear here. And I'll be honest, I know we're going to go through the 5. I'm really keen to hear more about this Venn diagram now as well. Like, knowing Stripes is on the one for boys.
It's the boys to men circle.
The boys to men.
Okay, so my circles for the players out at home.
Yeah, for those playing at home, keeping score.
I have 3 circles in my Venn diagram, not your casual 2, because casual 2 is just a bit primary school. I have 3 because I'm in secondary school. And it was the way I could figure out how many films I'd seen and where I would put them. So, are these films for the ladies? Are they for family? Are they for just the boys? Or is that where are the crossovers? Because I wanted to really know if I'd just seen more family films than I had films about, for women or whatever. So I have boys to men circle, which has got your Stripes, your Terminator, your Mad Max, your Predator. They're made primarily for the boys, let's be honest. And then I have for the fam bam, all the kiddies. And that's your Uncle Buck, your Black Cauldron, your Beetlejuice, Pee-wee, Gremlins, Labyrinth, Crocodile Dundee, E.T., Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Never-Ending Story, Land Before Time. They're clearly that's for the kids and family. They're on the outside of their circle.
There are a couple on there. I don't know. I don't know if Gremlins is for the kids.
It's for the kids and family. It's for the kids and family.
It's for the older kids, the kids who
it's for the 12-year-olds. It's for the big kids.
And for the
violent kids.
For the troublemakers, the animal torturers, the forest burners.
Not for the upper class children. It's for the ones on the other side of the tracks.
They probably slept under a bridge once or twice.
Yeah. And then
I don't know who this character is, but I like her.
And why do we always end up doing bonkers accents? I don't know. I promise we're not being insensitive.
It definitely started with your dangerously close Pee-wee accent.
Almost got me there. And my third circle is Ladytown.
Yes.
Clearly a film that's made for the ladies. Fame, Dirty Dancing, Breakfast Club. Well, that's probably questionable, but whatever. Moonstruck, Say Anything. They're on the outsides. And then there's crossovers. So there's maybe this was made hoping to catch family and women, Look Who's Talking, or Twins, Danny DeVito and Arnie. I feel that's made
I think that would almost fit in the trifecta. Twins is a great film.
Yeah, there was a few that I'm I don't know where this is really going. But in terms of the themes, I was because it's heavily babies, pregnancy, I was well, we are leaning a bit more towards women would be more watchers of that film than men. I feel men might give up. But
sure. What? Arnie is a nice guy in this? I don't want to watch that. Why is he ripping heads off?
Yeah, why isn't he punching dudes and riding motorcycles and big giant shotguns and and then so anyway, my Venn diagram is just that's how I figured it out and figured out what was going on. And then of course straight in the middle, in the middle for everybody everywhere all the time is of course Star Wars, Back to the Future and Blues Brothers. They're just in the middle. They just have to be.
Yeah, excellent. I like it. You went to a lot of work. You for one episode, you went to more work than I've probably invested in 24 episodes of this show.
Yeah, but that's what I enjoy doing. I just enjoy
I love it. I love it.
I just enjoy figuring out what the hell my head's thinking and putting it on paper, so I don't have to unpack the suitcase of crazy all over again.
Well, my feeling now is that obviously, first episode mind map, second episode Venn diagram with a third Venn diagram. So,
where are we going the next time?
I'm thinking Papercraft Castle with a working drawbridge, and we lift it, all the secrets come out.
like a marauder's map.
So there you go. You've done it now.
Damn it! Yeah, no. Okay. I might not be able to put that one back in the box. Oh God, what have we done?
One of the pairs of feet is just your sanity, leaving your body.
You're just gonna get a message from my husband saying, "Stop giving her projects."
Yeah, I'm out of here. Just
We're going hungry. Who am I kidding? I don't cook dinner. He does. Thank God. Otherwise, we would all go hungry.
I heard that very serious conversation you had about setting expectations in the household.
Yeah. Yep. He feeds us, let's be honest.
Good stuff. Excellent.
Mm.
Number 3.
Numero 3. Aliens.
What? Aliens. Yes, okay.
Aliens.
Because the first one is a 70s film. And Aliens,
which I love, but yeah, we're talking 80s.
So, I don't know if I've said this on the show or not, but I've gone on the record many times in conversation as saying that I prefer Alien to Aliens, to the point where I've refused to watch Aliens since I saw it 15 years ago. I just didn't like that they killed her daughter. I know obviously there's more daughter stuff in this one. I didn't like there was 100 years in the future. I didn't like that they went to an action film because remember, as the name of the show suggests, I was a teenage film snob. I was like, why would they took a perfect haunted house in space and they turned to some mindless action film. That being said, I have bought Aliens on Blu-ray this year with every intention of giving it another go because every movie deserves a second chance and I was probably wrong. But I have not seen it in a while, so I'm very open to hearing more about Aliens.
Okay. So hear me out. The reason I like it is once again, Ripley's protagonist is wonderfully strong and fierce and decisive.
Is she the best female action hero of all time? I know I asked you a question.
That is really cruel to ask because my first lady crush was Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton. So that's just not fair to ask me, and I don't think I can portray both of these gorgeous creatures.
I love Linda Hamilton in Terminator as well. So I'm certainly not. I also, just like with Alien to Aliens, I prefer Terminator 1 to Terminator 2, which I understand is blasphemy. But I think Sarah Connor, I think even though she has a lot in the second one, she doesn't have a Terminator on her side. So I think like seeing her kind of do it more on her own is very interesting.
No, I agree with you there in terms of like, breaking down like, can women really be action heroes? Well, yes, and they have. And if you think about Sarah Connor, she's a waitress who killed a killing machine. Like, I'm sorry, a waitress did that. So,
also, like Terminator 2, whilst a wonderful film and an absolute classic, there's about 45 minutes of a boy crying in the desert that I could do without. He's just winded for a good 45 minutes. And everyone seems to gloss over. Like, yeah, but the effects. I'm like, yeah, do you know what the effect that boy crying had on me? I was getting bored. But I do. It is a wonderful film. Like, I'm being silly, obviously. I always go back to Ripley. Like, she's just so good.
She is. She's not written in a way that would betray a leading character. Like, screw that she's a female for the majority of her dialogue or the majority of her action. They write a leading character with honor. They honor the leading character. They honor the action hero leading character. They don't make her out to be like overly bravado. They don't make her out to be ridiculously flawed, and you slowly end up siding with them because you feel sorry for them. Like you follow along with her and you agree with her decisions. You agree with how she's seeing the situation. You agree with how she's having to make choices on the fly. She's
a survivor.
She is.
Yeah. I know we're talking about the character, not the movie itself, but I always go back to that first movie where you're like, oh, she's escaped, and like the cat's in the pod with her, then you just see like the xenomorph moving. You're like, oh, it is not over.
You're like, you did your best, and I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. No, I really, really, really love Aliens. That was one that was one of my dad's films. That's one that came out in the rotation a lot because there was more action. So there was more to keep the different age groups interested, I think, in my family.
And is it Bill
Yeah.
Pullman? Bill Paxton.
Paxton, love him
Paxton.
forever and ever and
Game
ever.
over, man. That's the one. Yeah, game over,
Game
man.
over, man. Game
Yeah.
over. Stop getting me to quote things, huh? Because that's all we did. My brother and I would just really try and hone in on the great quotes and try and get the voices right. I don't know why we do that, but we did. Fun fact, he was not even cast in that role in that film at all until the last second. They'd started filming with the original actor, and like 2 weeks in, he got arrested for smoking pot and having possession of pot. And so they were like, crap, what do we do? And James Cameron's like, well, I have a buddy of mine from art school who's not an actor and he's never acted, or maybe he had just done the cameo in Terminator. But he was like, he's just my friend from art school who's in set design and he's a funny guy. Let's put him in it. And they put him in it and he was fantastic.
Was he in Weird Science at that point? Because Aliens is 86. Weird Science. I don't know.
But it would have been like really close together.
Like Weird Science predates it. So he was in Weird Science first. He played Chet, the older brother, who turns into like a weird poop monster or something.
But like he no joke was just a buddy of James Cameron that when they were both in set design, they would just build sets and tinker around together. And then James was just like, well, you're all right, actually. And so they just shoved him in.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and he's like excellent.
Yeah, he's so good. And I think with Aliens, I heard this recently, and it might have only been like literally in the last week, where apparently there were only 6 suits or 6 models, and they took that and turned into hundreds of aliens on screen. I didn't know that until recently. And to hear that, you're like, you know what, that's pretty impressive.
That's impressive.
In 86,
and the first prototypes were made of plastic bags.
Oh wow!
Like that's how like little money they had to begin with. So they were like, oh, let's make a full scale model, but with plastic bags. Like, yeah.
And the alien, the xenomorph, to me, probably the coolest looking monster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've given it a lot of thought, and over the years, and like, I know there's a whole like, especially from the 80s, people are like aliens or predators. Which do you prefer? And like Predator's cool, but the alien, I just think like it's such a sleek design, that H.R. Giger look, that very just even like the face without any features except for teeth and saliva, acid blood, the jagged knife of a tail, like everything about it is just the way they move is like
their posture. Yeah, the posture and the movement fits the design of the creature and. Yeah, I totally agree with you there.
I can't think of a cooler looking monster. Like, I loved the Alien before I'd seen Alien. Like I would just see it as a kid. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like it's scary, but also like it's very elegantly designed.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. It's elegant. It has an elegant, sleek, streamlined, but it's still got this stature to it. It's still got this strength behind it. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And just, that you're right, the way that moves. And I think that's probably also what helps the second film is you see more of them crawling along the roof. You see them more coming out from behind things. You see them moving quickly to like kill someone. Like you see so much more of their body. You get to appreciate more of their body.
Yeah, I can't think of another monster that I like the design of more. At this stage, I'm always ready to be impressed. I'm always ready to be wowed. But I think the Alien, like after 40 years, like going on 45 years, nothing has come close, in my opinion.
I just can't think of things off the top of my head. So I'm just I'm going through like scary sort of monsters, but I don't know. A lot of them are more humanoid.
Yeah, like if you think of your classic 80s horror monsters, like they're not even really monsters, they're just deformed people. But like Freddy, Jason, like look cool, not as cool as the Alien.
No.
Like Chucky is very silly to me. Like I don't mind some of those movies, but he's very silly.
Yeah, and like Yoda's beautiful and glorious. He's not cool looking.
No, no, he looks like my grandma.
I think he looks like Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, he does. He
Yeah.
does. Yeah, I just can't think of any. Like again, like the common comparison is the Predator. But yeah, like the Predator looks cool with his mask on. But once his mask comes off, he's just all like teeth and throat. I feel
Yeah.
like he's very gummy for an elite hunter. Yeah, and like the Thing is cool, but like there's nothing elegant about him. Like it's just like a weird hairy spider flesh monster.
And even like the face huggers in Alien, they're really just clever, and they're sort of sophisticated and sleek, even though they're kind of like bony, knobbly old fingers. But they,
nothing comes close.
No, I agree.
Yeah, look at that definitive statement. We're willing to be proved wrong, but I just I can't think of anything. I'd gladly be proved wrong. If you can show me something better than the Xenomorph, I will take it.
Yeah,
I'll take
Tell
something.
us ones that we've forgotten about.
Yeah, something cooler than that. Like, how can I be angry? I'm like, oh, that's even cooler. Great. I just can't think of anything.
Yeah.
Nice one. That's a solid flick. We talked more about I think the characters and the monsters themselves in the actual movie. But I am, now that you're talking about like, we're talking about their movements and the way the aliens, the idea of seeing lots of them kind of working together, I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm ready to go back. I'm ready to go back to James Cameron's Aliens. I also have like, I am trying to be better. I am saying that. I'm trying not to be a snob. I have issues with James Cameron. I feel like,
as a person, because 100% I'm with you, buddy.
Even as a filmmaker, like I feel like he's very money driven and he's very hypocritical. And the reason I say that is he recently came out in the last couple of years. He's like, well, there's superhero movies, too many. Stop making so many superhero films. And in the same interview, in the same breath, he's like, by the way, Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5 coming out in the next 10 years. Like, okay, well then why do you promise sequels if you're making them? Also, I've never seen Avatar, and I didn't watch it out of defiance because I was like, because everyone was like, it's the most brilliant film of all time. I wish I lived on Pandora. This is like the saltiest I've been on this show. Generally, I'm very lovely, but look, I'm just.
I know you're like, I'm not going to shit on other films. Yeah, you are. Go for it.
But I'm not, because I do want to see Avatar, and I saw the trailer for the new one, and I turned to Tina when I saw the trailer. I was like, you know what? That franchise has never really been for me, but God, it looks gorgeous. Like it looks stunning. But I just read this more, but I had a real chip on my shoulder about Avatar because not only was it like everyone was obsessed with it, it was in theaters for like a year. And I just read online today that Avatar has returned to cinemas again. Like he keeps releasing his films in cinema. And I'm like, I know it's about money because he's always talking about like, oh, like Avengers knocked me off the highest grossing. By the way, Titanic returned to. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah, he's a status queen. He is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just
Aliens. I think almost didn't get made or finished because they were filming, I think, somewhere in Britain, and the British crew could not stand him. Wow. And he was really rude to them and awful to them, and they wanted to quit. And I think the only reason that they patched it over and finished making the film was Sigourney Weaver, had worked with the crew before on the first film more closely and pretty much smoothed things over as best she could. And so, people don't like working with him either. So there's got to be some truth to, if they don't like working with him, then
it's a shame. Like that being said, I love The Abyss. I think The Abyss is a beautiful film. Like I think he's made a masterpiece there. And I really would have loved to have seen the Spider-Man film he was making in the 90s. At one point, he was attached to direct Spider-Man with Leonardo DiCaprio as Peter Parker.
Amazing. Spider-Man's my favorite. So
and in the 90s, like he would have been like, I remember when Tom Holland became Spider-Man, people were like, finally an age-appropriate Spider-Man. And I liked Toby and Andrew a lot. Yeah. I love them, so I got no complaints there. But everyone's like, oh my God, he's the right age. Leo in the 90s was also the right age. Like that would have been fantastic.
It would have been so good.
Yeah, because now I don't want to say Leo as a superhero. Like he's a classy actor doing like Oscar pitches and stuff. Now I don't need to see him in comic book movies anymore. But in the 90s as Spider-Man, absolutely there for it.
I would have loved that.
Yeah. Anyway, was that 3? That was 3, wasn't it?
That was number 3. You can do it, Nikki.
This is exactly what this show is for. It's for the tangents. I love it. I told you I was looking forward to having you back on. Number 2, where are we at?
Number 2 is Steel Magnolias.
This is the first one you've mentioned that has come up before.
Okay, good.
But I haven't seen it still. But it was described to me by my friend Gabby, and she waxed poetic on it.
Oh, good. Good. I am absolutely in her corner. Robert Harling has just, if ever there was a film where someone has made it for all the right reasons and has absolutely done the most heartfelt, sweetest honor to the story and to the place and to the people and to women, it would be this film.
Okay.
It is, yeah, because it's I'm trying to think of like all the amazing things about it. Like, it's a real story. It was filmed in the real town where Shelby, or Susan, who I think is the real woman, lived. The characters are based off like the friends of Harling's sister and mother. And I think to have a film that so genuinely portrays women and so genuinely shows love and affection and care and honor for the things that we go through or the things that we talk about or the way that we do, to be done by a man and to be done so just lovingly and just so treasured. It's just incredible. It's an incredible gift. And the film itself is just so heartbreaking, but it gives you moments of just little flutters of joy at the same time, which is exactly like what the film name means. It's it's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful film.
So I'm going to say this. I just gave Gabby a lot of credit for waxing poetically, and I mean no disrespect to Gabby because she's wonderful. You just sold me on this film way more in way less time.
I need to listen to what she said though, because I don't want to be repeating the same things.
No, not at all. Not a criticism, but
I'm sure the sentiment is exactly there though. I'm sure Gabby is absolutely like grasped on like it's a treasure. It's the most treasured thing you own in your secret little treasure box up in your high cupboard that you just don't want anyone ever to touch or to mess with. It is just flawless. And
this is Dolly, the Dolly Parton flick, is that right?
Yes, Sally Field, Dolly Parton, Julia Roberts. Like,
gee, what a solid cast! Like,
it's got some amazing, amazing characters, amazing performances, amazing dialogue. But I think I'm trying to think of like the main pull or the main thing I found really, really interesting, because I saw it when I was older. I never saw it as a teen. I saw it like late 20s. And it hit me so hard. And then I, did a bit of reading about it in uni sort of thing. And I wanted to know the backstory because, someone had said it was a real story. So of course you go digging. And I think the best thing that it does is every scene that the group of women are like talking to each other, they would never be talking to each other like that if there was a male present. And so like the main plot points, the main points of conflict, the main points of triumph are the women in the beauty parlor. Then they're preparing in the house before a wedding. Then they're, at a Christmas party in the kitchen, or they're at, a funeral, and there's no males present, and it's deliberate because when men enter a delicate, grieving or heartfelt context or situation, women don't behave the same. And so it's so fantastic that the way they talk, the way they have delicate conversations or hard conversations, and they intertwine it with witty one-liners or mean little side jabs at each other and stuff. Women don't do that in front of men. They do it in this safe, safe, airtight bubble with each other that's just sacred. And it's so gorgeous that every pivotal point through this film, watch it and watch those moments and realize they're so raw and they're so honest and they're so humorous when it should be gut-wrenchingly sad. But it's because they can, and it's because that's what we do, but we only do it when there's no males around. And he captures that so wonderfully. He understands the sacred nature of that. He understands the reality of that. He's written such a beautiful story that allows that to be not taken for granted, or he wants people to see that and see it for what it is. And it's not just women having these women talks. It's important. It's who they are. It's what they need to do. It's the way they connect with each other, and it's valid. And I can't believe it was written by men. Like, I just can't sometimes. And that's what makes it even more special and makes me even more passionate about it. And of course, Dolly Parton. I love her.
You 100% sold a ticket on it. But I think you've sold this film to me harder than anything else you've talked about this evening.
I'm really passionate about passionate about it.
And I'm a dialogue fiend. Like, my favorite, I love action films. I love visual spectacles. But like, what got me into film, and the thing that really kind of turned me from just a kind of a casual moviegoer to someone who's all about the art form and made me a bit of a snob, was dialogue. It was just like seeing, because dialogue is where representation begins.
Yes. Yes. Or where it's just not believable, where it pulls you out of a film because you think, no, they wouldn't talk to each other like that, or why would they stop there? As if you wouldn't say that extra thing, or
I'll be honest. As I said, I'm like, wow, that was really profound, more profound than I meant it to be. But it really is where representation begins. Like, I think of, and I've talked about it a few times on the show, Clerks is one of my favorite films of all time. And it's just a day in the life film. Two guys working in a convenience store from morning till night. But they sit around and make fun of the customers. They sit around and talk about Star Wars. They sit around and talk about what they watched on TV the other night. They just have very real, stark, candid conversations. They talk about their girlfriends and sex and work and how they have no plans for the rest. Like, very, like, on paper, you're like, well, this is boring. This is real life. But it's the candor of it and the honesty of the dialogue, where I'm like, yeah, that was me in my teenage years. It was also me in my 20s. And it was also me for a little bit in my 30s. Like, I was a guy behind a register just trying to get through the shift so I could get to living, and living wasn't much. It was, living was hanging out with my mates and watching TV, or hanging out with my, going out to the movies, something like that. And as a straight white male in my 30s, I don't have to look too far for representation. But at the same time, I kind of do, in as much as I don't look at John Wayne or Arnold Schwarzenegger and be like, yep, that's me. They nailed it. That is what I identify with. Whereas a film like that is very much like, oh, yeah, that's why I think I fell in love with the art form in the way I did. Like, I always loved movies, but after seeing that, I'm like, oh, I've never seen the movie where the guys are doing the things that I do, who just sit around and talk about geeky stuff. And you could even, like, I think a film that kind of goes hand in hand with Clerks, I love Clerks, is Empire Records. I don't know if you've seen that one, but it's
no, I have. I think I've seen it once or twice.
It's the same movie. It's girl clerks in a record store instead of a convenience store. It's the same thing, day in the life, and very much my thing. I love Empire Records as well, and it's the same sort of thing. And I know I got off topic there, but I guess what I'm saying is, like, it's that dialogue that's so important. So you telling me about, like, the earnest dialogue in this film, and like how there's different, I guess, flavors to it. It's like, well, this is what they sound like when they're in front of men, but when they get to be with themselves, that's when their characters really shine. But that's that gateway. That's the gateway to the story for me. So you telling me,
it puts value in the things we talk about, because sometimes any of those topics that come up, the male population just zone out and they don't listen. But the dialogue itself might not have anything really sparkly to it, but it's the context of the dialogue. It's like, it's the value behind the connections that the women are making while they do engage with each other and while the dialogue is happening. And it's the context of, but look look who's missing from this scene, and the reason why is so important. Why there's no men in this scene is integral to the scene, which is so weird. The absence of something being integral to why something is able to occur being just as important. Like it's, yeah.
I'll be honest, you get me very excited about Steel Magnolias, a sentence I never thought I'd say in my life. But now I'm ready to check it out, so I've got to get my hands on it. And
well, you've just, and if anything, even if you never get around to it, do some digging about the film itself, because there's just like the actresses and actors that play the doctors in the hospital are the actual doctors in the hospital.
Oh wow!
Like there are doctors that spoilers alert, do something with a life support machine. It's the actual woman who turned off a life support machine doing it in the film. Like they film in a house down the street from where she actually grew up. And there's just some things in there that you just think they really wanted to do this justice and do it sensitively and well. And yeah. And I think the turnaround from it being written to being an off-Broadway play to then being a film was a matter of a couple of years. Like that's how desperate people were to go, yep, this needs to be done. This is a story that needs to be told. Like it's, just do some digging of a few articles and you will just find even more reasons to love it even before you watch it.
Oh,
and Dolly Parton's got some great one-liners.
Yeah.
You realise time keeps marching on and then you realise it's marching across your face. Like, yeah. My hair's got so much static, it's picking up everything except money and boys. Yeah. There's some great ones.
I was like, you just spoke so beautifully and eloquently about this film. It was very poignant. Making, I was like, I feel like it'd be wrong of me to prompt you for a Pee-wee impression, but then you absolutely delivered with Dolly, so we're fine.
I'll do it, Dolly. Laughter through tears is my favorite emotion.
Oh my goodness,
she's good. A gem. She's a treasure.
She is. She really is.
Yeah.
Alrighty, that's 4 down, 4.5 down with our little halves in there. And I didn't even ask you when we started because I just wanted to get the ball rolling and go. Are these ranked? Is this in order of fifth favorite to? Okay, so it is.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Big.
You'll never guess. You'll never guess what's beaten that. You just
big expectations here because this is a strong list. A lot of great flicks in here, most of which I haven't seen, which makes me even more excited. Because I love hearing about films I haven't seen, and I love the idea of now going to go discover them. I'm on the edge of my seat. I really don't know what it is.
You want some hints? Do you want to guess?
If you're like 1989 Batman, I'm like, you're crazy.
Yeah, it's topping all of that. Like, what eloquent things have I got to say that have smashed that over? No.
Where he wears that bat suit. I have no idea what's coming.
Okay, so what's my profession?
You're a teacher.
I'm a teacher. Why do people become teachers? What do they really want to do?
Well, they say, I believe the famous phrase is those who can't do, teach. And those who can't teach gym. That's from School of Rock.
I was a gymnastics teacher for a while, so that's real double whammy. Awkward. No, we want to inspire. We want to change the world.
Is it Dead Poets Society?
It is. Yes, it's Dead Poets. It's grown on me. So, you see it once and you're like, yeah, that was a good film. But you see it again and you're like, this is a good film. You see it again, you're like, oh my God, this is such a good film. Like, yeah. Each time I've watched it, kind of similar to Uncle Buck, I've watched it sort of younger. And so I felt more in tune with, one character over another. And then I watched it again and you start to sort of sympathize a bit more with Robin Williams' character, or you see more of him. And then as a parent, I start to sign up, there's a little bit more forgiveness for the father figure, or like each time I watch it, I don't know if it's even there, but I'm reading more into like lots of stuff. There's of course flaws. There's of course some things that I'm like, damn it, you've fallen short on that. Like their representation of women, like that's no good. But let's just pretend that that's not there, because otherwise it's glorious. Triumphant.
No, I haven't seen this one either. This one was also on Gabby's list, but since that conversation, that episode, I have acquired. I've gone into the records and I've acquired a copy of this lost film. I do have Dead Poet Society on my shelf ready to go, so
Good.
I'm very excited to watch it. She sold it brilliantly to me, so it's definitely. And I love Robin Williams. You can't go wrong with Robin Williams.
No,
The
adore
guy
him.
the guy just couldn't put in a bad performance if he tried. Like if he tried to put in a bad performance, it'd probably be the best of his career, to be honest.
I mean, I still really loved him in Jumanji, but yeah,
So good.
he's in terms of what his role was in that film and what you needed that character to achieve. 100%. He felt like that teacher that saw you, that teacher that like just didn't see you as another bum on a seat. Or I think he manages to have so much, like, he sets the bar, but he's soft, but he's forgiving, but he's got expectations, but he pushes, but his character is
Well,
wonderful.
I mean, and I don't think this is like a hot take or anything, but his non-comedic performances are his best ones. Good Will Hunting, 1 Hour Photo, Death to Smoochie, which is a really obscure film a lot of people haven't seen, but just he's genius in everything he does. And Jumanji,
Jumanji.
it all comes back to Jumanji.
Jumanji, yeah. No, I just, I like the way that the first time I viewed the film and he, started to set the scene about carpe diem and, gather ye rosebuds while ye may and stuff. My reading about it was like, be brave, take risks sort of thing. But then as I got older, I realized, and I think I don't know if it just came with maturity or seeing other similar films and things, but I read into it, no, it's about understanding that you're not immortal and that your choices matter. And I think that was a real difference in how I viewed the films. And they're your choices, and your choices matter, and don't just move through life, live it. And that changed how I viewed some of the situations as well. Like, especially, who's more to blame for, like, what's his name? Neil's problem, who's more to blame, the teacher or his father? And that changed the way I saw that scenario as well. Like, you haven't seen it, so I don't want to blow it, but yeah, I changed the way I saw carpe diem isn't seize the day as in do something exciting or brash or brave, which is what the boys start off. The film sort of sets it up nicely, where the film starts off with their understanding and their ideal of that, but then it moves more towards own your choices, make choices, know they matter, and know that you're not here forever to make choices and to have the gift of making choices. I just think that's really poignant.
It is. I was just sitting there. I was getting a little misty-eyed listening to you talk about it. Like, such a beautiful, and you've used the word poignant. We've used the word poignant a couple of times now, but it is a really beautiful point. And it's so funny to think that, like, literally like an hour ago we're like, ha, 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 and and then you finish on these two tear-jerking movies. And this is why. This is the why of it all. Like, when I was younger, whether it was in high school and even throughout my 20s, I would stop every now and then and go, why am I into this? Why do I like this? Like, why is it movies? Like, it's not an active hobby. I sit on a couch and I disconnect for 2 hours, and it's a wonderful escape. But like, why that? Like, surely I can be doing more with it. Like, why is the only thing I want to do is talk about these movies? And it wasn't until I was in my 30s and I started to realize that they're a conduit for me. Like, this is the language I speak. Like, and that's not me saying, I'm socially awkward and I can't have a conversation. I can talk about anything. but through film, I feel like I can get to the heart of it more. Like if I have trouble explaining something, if I have trouble kind of expressing something, I can be like, oh, well, it's like this in this moment in this film here. Or if you, we talked a lot in the first phase of the show about crying during movies, and I'm very open about it. I'm a big movie crier, but I don't really cry in real life. Like it's just not my thing. I'm just not enough. But like through the storytelling, through these performances, like through the heart of what they're trying to get at, that's what opens me up and kind of gets me raw in the middle and like kind of the big gooey center. And if that's what something as silly as a movie can do, surely that's important. And not only that, but it does inspire. Like it makes people creative. It makes people want to be better. Like if I watch Ant-Man, I'm like, oh man, I should be a better dad. Like because Ant-Man's trying to be a better dad. Like isn't that kind of profound in a really stupid way?
Yeah, isn't that a really strange lesson to be finding here? So easily accessible to find that value or that lesson in that film. Yeah. Well, interestingly, that's also another point from Dead Poet Society. It's that the humanities and the things like film and poetry and literature and creative writing, so I just say the humanities because it's a bit easier, they're the things that sustain culture and sustain understanding and sustain connecting. I think he even says something like, being lawyers and doctors and politicians are noble pursuits and they're, integral to keeping the society moving. But yeah, like the humanities are a driving force for humanity to connect with our otherness, to connect with the soul of ourselves, rather than what just helps us survive. Yeah.
And at the risk of sounding really wanky, but
oh god,
it is a film podcast after all. Aren't we just storytellers? Like, isn't that kind of like at the end of the day, as people, like if we have nothing else, we have our stories. Like that's how we share history. That's how we learn. That's how we teach. Like when I was younger, I was always like, oh, yeah, well, I was a writer, and I still am a writer, and I like to write. But I would always be like, oh, I'm not so much a writer, as I'm a storyteller, which sounds really wanky, but it's just,
no.
but it's also kind of like, well, if I say that, then there's no expectation I'm any good at it, because we're all storytellers. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no, but I understand what you're going for. A storyteller means that your objective is to reach people on a soulful level. A writer could potentially have the goal of being informative or persuasive, but a storyteller already inherently comes with characteristics of you're wanting to connect, you're wanting to showcase, you're wanting to explore. Like, no, that makes total sense.
I'm just like, how many people are switching off now? They're like, geez, I got really philosophical towards the end there. I liked when she was doing Pee-wee impressions, but now, like...
Hate's worn off. I need to go get some lollies.
This episode really took a turn that I wasn't expecting. And not in a bad way, but that's the beauty of this. It's just it can go anywhere. And like, I know I said before, I was like, oh, I got a little misty. I'm not even kidding. I do have a little watering going on here. So it just got so beautiful. I know. And then
we can get silly again. Come on, we're good for it.
That is a solid list. What I love about it, and as I said, the first episode of this series, I'd only seen one of the 5 films, and I really beat myself up about it. I was like, gee, like, call yourself a film snob. You haven't seen them. You haven't seen any of these films. People are going to really judge you. You have to hand in your film snob card. And tonight, like, I've seen a couple of your films on your list, but most of them I haven't, and I'm thrilled that I haven't. Like, the journey I'm on now is like, that's awesome, because you know what that means? There's 4 or 5 films out there that I haven't seen that I get to look forward to watching now.
Good. I want to make you hungry to see them.
I mean,
that's how passionate I am about some of these. I want to make you hungry to just go and try and.
Well,
yeah.
your delivery and your summary of Steel Magnolias was so beautifully delivered. I was like, I have to watch it.
You have to.
Have to watch it. Like, and again, it was all about the dialogue. Once you mentioned the dialogue, I was like, well, I'm in. Because I'm a dialogue fan. Like, I love dialogue. That is a solid list. We've only had solid lists, but what I loved was that whilst there are a couple of repeats on there towards the end, all very unique and a lot of stuff people haven't mentioned, which is good because the whole point of the show is to get people watching movies and remember that there are no bad films, because if every film is someone's favorite film, then there can't be any bad movies. But that is a strong list.
Got to finish strong.
Finish strong. Speaking of finishing strong, we are now going to, now that you're listening, did you have any honorable mentions? Was there anything we didn't talk about you want to bring up other than your Venn diagram, which you did go through before?
I'm really naughty and I don't have honorable mentions, but I have 3 questions that I want to grill you with.
Oh, do it. I love this.
Oh, damn. You're going to grill me. I'm going to grill you.
That was definitely the scariest voice you've used all night. Grill me. I love this. I've got questions for you, but I'm going to let you go first.
So sometimes us ladies have funny brains and we dream really good questions. And I literally woke up and I had a dream where I asked you these questions and I was like, sorry, non-negotiable. I'm asking you these questions.
Just want to put on the record, Maddie's dreaming of me. Okay, continue.
It's fine. It's fine. Tell you, I was so excited. I'm so excited to do this. So that's why they must have just been like, right, you've got to come up with some really interesting stuff. So question 1.
Yes.
Question 1. I'm going to read it so I don't read it wrong and screw up my... Okay, here we go. In your opinion.
Yes.
In your opinion, this is polarizing. I've asked people this before.
Mm-hmm.
Did 80s films vilify Nazis for the awful ideologies and acts that they actually did? Or did we as an audience more learn that the Germans are bad? Like, how do you think, like Indiana Jones, I can't remember what other films, but you know how there's like the Nazis as the bad guy. Did we really learn that the Nazis are bad, or did we kind of skim? And do you think they were more presented as just like Germans? Look out for Germans, they're naughty. And P.S. I'm Polish German, so like it's...
Yeah, I know. Like, I know you are.
I'm not going for a culture. I just want to know about films itself in the 80s. In the 80s.
I feel like in the 80s, it's interesting because, first of all, I think I've said this before and I had to clarify when I said this because I was like, oh, this could be misdirected. I think Nazis are great villains for movies. And by that I mean we have no remorse. If there's a Nazi and they get punished, they deserve it. Like, history has taught us enough that every
That's
Nazi...
okay. Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
It's okay for them to be punished.
So a great villain, because one thing that's very popular these days in modern films is having the empathetic villain where they've kind of got a point. Don't feel that way with Nazis. So good old-fashioned punishment. Just good to see them get what they deserve. But I do think in the 80s, in particular, the Nazis almost kind of became a punchline. Like, I think about you think about Raiders, and whilst they are quite scary and there's magic involved, they're also not very good at what they do. Like, they're very easily thwarted. If you look at sitcoms like Hogan's Heroes, like obviously they're all like, whoa, like almost like slapstick characters. And Blues Brothers, like Blues Brothers has Nazis in it, and again, like, they're kind of hapless.
They're bumbling buffoons.
And I think I think it also almost comes more down to the idea of, as trauma ages and starts to kind of enter our rear vision, we feel more comfortable laughing about it again. And I know I'm not really answering your question at this stage. I'm kind of just...
No, it's a hard question, and I've asked it a few times, and people have been hard in one camp or hard in another, or same as you and been like, I don't know. Like,
I do think, like, and this, I don't know if this is a cop-out answer, but I almost feel like it comes down to the film. Because, like, if I watch European Vacation, like, German culture was very stereotyped in there. I never get the impression they're like, oh, look at these bad Germans, they were Nazis. So I guess it does depend, but I definitely feel like there was less. I'm trying to pick my words carefully. You can see how like serious I'm taking the question.
I know. It also it's not made to trap you.
No. I know.
It's just a question that I find interesting, especially for 80s films, because they do crop up as the villain.
Yeah, I think that like in the 80s they became very popular, but there's almost like the 80s is meant to be so fun and wild and bombastic and kind of silly that they really do fall under the camp of being a punchline. And it's not till the 90s, the advent of films like American History X, where we're like, okay, now we're going to take them seriously again and paint them as they are.
Yeah.
And I know American History X isn't German Nazis, it's neo-Nazis in America, that sort of thing, but it's that same kind of thing. And then from the 90s forward, we have a more serious approach to it, and you have Schindler's List as well. And even Inglourious Basterds, which is a silly film, like the Nazis, Hans Landa, played by Christoph Waltz, is very entertaining. There is absolutely no doubt in your mind that he's a despicable human being.
He's chilling, yeah.
Like he's very funny and charismatic and entertaining, but when he is being the villain he's supposed to be, you can't help but look away at times because he's so cruel.
Yes. But are we associating that with Nazis or with Germans? Like that's what I
think in modern film, and I know the question about it, in modern film, there is that delineation.
Yeah.
In the 80s, I think that if there's a chance for a German to be exposed as a Nazi in a punchline, they take it.
Yeah. That we can leave it there. That's just
it's very much a punchline thing. Yeah, that was a tough question. I know you weren't trying to trap me. I know you wouldn't do that to me. But I've never.
And that's the hardest one. That's the hardest one I have.
I've never had to really think about it before. I was like, oh, I'm excited. This is fun questions. You're like, right. Let's talk about propaganda. Oh no.
I just have to ask you these questions. All right, quick. I'll do number 2.
Good question though.
I'll do number 2. It's silly.
Okay.
Snog, marry or kill.
Okay.
Ready. E.T. Elwood Blues. Or Luke Skywalker. Don't think about it. Just come on. What's your gut tell you? Snog, marry, kill.
E.T.
That was the hardest one. Who are you going to kill?
I kill Elwood Blues.
Okay.
I snog Luke Skywalker and I marry E.T. And here's why.
Okay.
As a kid, I loved Elwood Blues. As an adult, he's annoying. Like, he's annoying and he's not doing me any favors. He's making my life a real inconvenience. Luke Skywalker, 1970s Mark Hamill, very attractive, but very whiny. I don't want to spend too much time with him. E.T., I can be in a sexless marriage with him, and if I die, he can bring me back to life. So there's a
I didn't know you were going to go there. Yes.
You said it was silly, and I took it seriously. It's a weird one, but I'm happy with my answer.
For those playing at home, ask yourself.
Yeah.
Snog, marry, or kill. And last one is famous or favorite one-liner. Or if you don't have a favorite, what's a one-liner that comes to your mind all the time?
From the 80s, obviously, that's the theme of the show. I've only been doing it for like 10 weeks. You think I know by now. Well, I guess like the obvious one, and the one that probably stuck with me the most as a kid, was "We're on a Mission from God," like from Blues Brothers. That was really good.
There's so many, but I'm with you. It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Hit it.
Yeah.
I think we're on a mission from God is probably the one that comes to mind the most. Or this is the classic Marty. Like, it's not really a catchphrase as much as Doc saying his name.
Great Scott.
Yeah, Great Scott's a good one.
You know what? There's so many. It's probably a mean question to ask. There's so many brilliant ones.
I had to think, but yeah, I think it's probably "We're on a Mission from God." That's the one.
Okay, cool. Your turn.
All right.
Your turn.
Well, as you know, in the last episode, we did the rapid fire question. So this is the 80s rapid fire questions. No one gets through it rapidly, so don't stress. What I want to know first, And the answers you might have already given, and that makes it a little bit easier. First of all, which movie to you defines the 80s? You think of the 80s and you think of this film.
Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yeah, just music, fashion, actual young-ish people, like hair, narrative, goals of, Back to the Future. I think so, yeah.
Now, which 80s film has the best theme song and or soundtrack? It's the generation of the soundtrack. It's the first time we had.
Hard.
And it's the first time movies had a theme song, really. Like nearly every 80s film has a theme song.
I mean,
it became a single.
Like John Williams can never go wrong with anything. Like, I want to say Star Wars.
You're going score. Okay, nice one.
Yeah, I want to go John Williams because his sound is so defining. His sound is so recognizable.
Great.
The layering of the musical instruments, like you could play me the Star Wars theme backwards or something and I would still be able to pick it because of the musical elements and the pace or the layering but like the best one. I mean, look, I'm a diehard Star Wars fan, so I just don't think I could.
No, that's fine. That's solid.
I can't go past. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a song that's got like the, is it not the electric guitar? What's the
synth?
Synth. Yeah, I'm trying to think of something with like a synth. Or
well, I know really like some people
like 80s drum or like
some people, if you have gone, Who Are You Gonna Call? Ghostbusters. As a classic track. Some people gone Power of Love from Back to the Future, which is an absolute banger. I remember for soundtrack, I threw in Blues Brothers soundtrack. I just don't think you get better in terms of soundtracks there. Like
I've worn out that CD 3 times.
That's
but saying something.
If you're going score, like Star Wars is hard to beat. There's so many memorable sounds in there.
I think I'm just going to have to. Just can't.
Done. Locked.
Yep.
Can't take it back.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you think of the 80s, which actor or actress really defined the 80s? Who is the face of the 80s to you?
Oh my God. There's too many. I don't think I could.
You can name a couple. You have to.
No, but meaning like, I think I've got them all in the same, almost on the same level. Like. Yeah. No, I don't think I could say is the face of. I think you'd have like how Vanity Fair does those big like issues where they've got like 25 celebrities on the cover. That's what's in my brain.
Okay,
like,
that's fine.
That's what defines it, not one. It's the collection.
Sometimes it's not when we act, but when we choose not to act. So if you don't have an answer, that's fine. So
there've
been a couple of problems. Tom Cruise has been a big one. He was big in the 80s. He's still big now, but he really was he had a really big 80s career. I know that Winona Ryder came up, Molly Ringwald, of course, Anthony Michael Hall, big staples of the 80s as well. But that's
Patrick
fine.
Swayze have
no one said Swayze. You can go crazy for Swayze if you want to.
Well, but see, I like him and like Sigourney and like they're all on the Vanity Fair cover together.
It's fine.
Yeah,
we will move past it
in denim,
double denim.
Yeah.
I know the answer to this one because you messaged me very excitedly today. But which is the best 80s vehicle or mode of transport?
Can I swear?
Yeah.
I already have.
I mean, it's a bit late to ask. You've done it so many times.
Because I'd listened to yours and Tina's episode, so I sort of was tossing and turning between some of the answers before and stopping and starting and rah, rah, rah. But this one was killing me. I've got like the dumb answers that I don't want to choose, like the sandworm from Beetlejuice, or like Uncle Buck's backfiring car, or Pee-wee's shitty bike, or saddling up a xenomorph.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, look, it's the most dangerous way to travel.
Yeah, but yeah, when it came to me, I immediately texted you, and all I texted you was motherfucking Falcor.
Yeah.
From now on, motherfucking Falcor. I'm gonna make a T-shirt and sell them.
It's a great answer, and no one has said it. That's a solid one. We've had a lot of DeLoreans, which is fair. Very cool. We've had a couple of Batmobiles. We've had one time traveling phone box from Tina.
Oh yeah.
So I think we had a couple of Ghostbusters cars, which are like stylistically, I'm like, yep, looks cool, but it's just a hearse.
Is it weird that like Ghostbusters, the car attracts me because I'm someone who really likes like storage, and I'm like, oh, you can fit a lot of stuff in that car.
I mean, you've seen the bookshelf I have, right? Like, I'm all about storage.
Yeah. Like the more space something has, the more brownie points it gets.
Like, I do like aesthetic, but if I can just get a bunch of stuff in there, like, great. Like, get my possessions stored away. Excellent.
Yeah.
Falcor's a great answer.
Yeah.
And he's a dragon, isn't he, Falcor? Like, he looks like a flying dog, but he's a dragon.
He's a luck dragon.
A luck dragon. Does he?
Like, come on.
Does he grant wishes? What's his deal? Aside from the fact that he can
What
fly.
isn't his deal? Like the dude.
Okay. I didn't realize you got to flip it on me like that. You're right. I should never have questioned it.
He turns up at all the right times.
He turns up.
Like
Hey, if you invite him somewhere, he'll be there.
He's got beautiful lashes.
Good point. I mean, look, every other vehicle mentioned has lacked.
He's never crashed.
Hey.
Like ET's bloody bike, that thing crashes. Like,
yeah. Well, it wasn't ET's bike. It was his first time riding a bike, I think. So we'll give him some. You're breaking me. I'm breaking again. Oh, no. Alrighty, and the last one, and this is probably the trickiest one, and considering, but hopefully you'll give it a fair whack. Last time you were on the show, I said to you, Maddie, tell me the movie that no one should remake. This time around, I want to know which is the 80s film that we should remake. Whether the original wasn't very good, or whether we just want to modernize it for a new audience. Which 80s film we're taking? We're launching in the present day.
You have saved some good ones. I have titles for my answers.
Oh, good.
I have my Bitchy McGee answer, and I have my full box of crayons up top answer.
I don't know what either of those mean, but I'm very excited.
Bitchy McGee means I'm being really nasty, and my full box of crayons means I actually thought about it.
Oh, okay. To be fair, I had a pretty good idea what Bitchy McGee meant. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, the full box of crayons, I wasn't sure.
Dude.
Okay.
Which one do you want first?
I'm dealer's choice.
Okay, you ready? You want Bitchy McGee?
Do it.
Bitchy McGee is not a redo. It's not a remake. It's a redo. Impress me. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I hate it. give me some characters I actually like. Give me some dialogue that's good. Give me some higher stakes quality. Give me some better casting. Give me better musical numbers. Just fuck you and do it better because it was shit.
You don't like Twist and Shout?
I don't like anything about that film.
What about? Oh yeah.
Except for the car. The car's really good looking. I like the look of the car.
We'll cast the car as Ferris next time.
I'm into classic cars, but like
what we'll do is we'll get Pixar to remake it as a Cars spin-off, and the car will play Ferris. Yeah,
it can have the same title, but redo it. Like chuck it all in the bin and start again.
We talked about this when you called Tina on Sunday to say you were listening to the episode, which I was very flattered by. And I said to you, the rule with Ferris Bueller is if you watch as an adult, it's too late. You won't enjoy it. You have to watch as a kid or a teenager. That's when it's the best. It's most effective. Because once you're an adult, you're like, man, this kid's annoying. I'm with the parents.
I didn't even like the parents.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I think I was saying on that same phone call, I was like, I like the receptionist. I don't like the kids in the classroom, in the hallways. I don't like any of them. Yeah, really polarizing. Some people love that film.
All right, fair enough. And you're not the first person to tell me there's strong feelings on Ferris Bueller. Well, because that's that's the one where you just want to be impressed. We won't do too much Ferris Bueller. What's your? Tell me about your full box of crayons. I almost asked it a different way. I was like, we've really been a bit dicey with some of the things we've said on this show. I'm gonna do the
about boxes and crayons.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, here's what I was gonna say, because now that you know the context, I was gonna say tell me about your full box. And then I was like, nope, I need to phrase that better.
Okay. The one that I actually thought about was The Big Chill.
Interesting. Flick I've never seen.
Mm.
Shocker. As we're learning, the more movies for the less I've seen. So give me a rundown of the current version of The Big Chill.
Okay, so it's a group of friends.
Mhm.
They're in adulthood. So they've been friends for quite some time, I'm guessing from college days onwards. So it's about like a long-standing group of friends, which like is not always a thing anymore. And one of their friends commits suicide. So they all sort of find their way back to each other for the funeral, and they stay at one of the friends' houses. And so it's all about, you know, them sort of reconnecting, you know, the one-on-one friendships and the group dynamic and the group friendships. And, you know, you get to see little, you know, little individual storyline, you know, what are they called? Like problems that they have, etc. And it's sort of, it's almost like a film about nothing, but it's also a film about friendships. And I just thought that there's potential there, because like audiences now are returning to liking seeing friendship dynamics. They're liking seeing friends finding their way back to each other, or just watching the dynamics of a larger group of like platonic friends. But yeah, and I just think there's heaps of potential there, because audiences are like wanting that and ready to go back to that. And you know, you could do some great stuff with casting. You know, you could have a similar driving force that brings them all back together, but they're set, you know, in this bubble of this house, and the things that happen around dinner time and sleeping arrangements, or there's a bat in the attic, etc. I just think that it's got potential to transfer and translate to now quite well.
It's a solid cast. I'm just looking over this. Like Tom
Jeff
Berenger,
Goldblum.
Glenn
Yep.
Close, Jeff Goldblum, William Hurt, Kevin Kline. Written directed by Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote Empire Strikes Back and Raiders as well. So it's Kevin Costner's in it. He's the last one billed, so maybe just a small role. I'm not sure. It's a solid cast, and
it's got an excellent soundtrack. Really, really good soundtrack.
And the ambiguity of the plot, in as much as it's not really about anything.
No.
You could make it with anyone. Normally what I do is go, okay, cast it. But because of the kind of film it is, I don't think you can poorly cast it.
Well, you sort of, if you're following similar storylines, you still need one of the friends that sort of overreaches and has a bit of bravado. You still need sort of the quiet loner friend. You still need the friend that, you know, is more, you know, the housewife doing her duty and struggling with that. You still need sort of stereotypes. You could do a different combination, of course.
Okay.
But they've
can you cast it then? That's the question.
Oh, God. Well, they've all got to be a similar age, because they all went to college together. So that's also making it harder, is finding people that are of the same age. And I wouldn't want to remake it where they're fresh out of college and they're still finding their way. It's really kind of important that they're got their careers, they're in the middle of careers, or and that's why finding their way back to each other and back to this bubble of lesser sort of life, or away from their, like, escapism from their actual lives, is the tempting part and the nice lighthearted part. Or I don't know if I could cast it, but you'd need strong, believable, maybe well seasoned people.
And is it played as a comedy, or is it more of a drama, or is it's got shades? It's kind of a bit of everything.
Shades. I would say it's got shades. I think Goldblum's character provides the comedy or the lighter bits. Same with, I forgot his name. Oh God.
Tom Berenger or William Hurt?
I'm looking it up now.
Or Kevin Costner.
Is Kevin Costner in it?
Kevin Kline?
Yeah, I was like, no way is Costner in it.
No, Costner's in it. I just saw that he's got like a bit part in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's definitely only got a tiny bit. No, Kevin Kline. Kevin Kline does some lighthearted work with Jeff Goldblum.
some mild japery.
Some mild messing around with a tennis racket and a bat in an attic.
Because my go-to ensemble cast, and I don't know if it's right for it because they might be too much leaning into comedy, but my go-to ensemble is Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Martin Freeman, Rosamund Pike. Like, get those guys together.
I don't know. They're too separated in ages. Yeah. Or they're maybe not believable that they all went to school. It's important that they went to college together, sort of thing.
They're all around the same age. They're all in like their kind of late 40s.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I could cast it. But in terms of the potential for the film to translate to now, I think it would do well.
Nice one. I'll add it to my list of things to watch. Nice one. That's it. We've done another one. I think this might be long. Last time we had an abundance of technical difficulties, and we were operating on a inferior Zoom account. I still think this might be a longer episode. We've definitely covered a lot. And I was very aware of time because I know that you were like, look, I need to get to sleep, and it's really dragged out. But we just had so many tangents. It's been a lot of fun having you back.
Thank you so much for having me back. I'm down for a derailed chat anytime.
You'll definitely be back in the future. We'll be having you back when we get into the next phase. But that's going to pretty much do it for this week's episode. So I do need to let you know, Maddie, I've looked at the gauge and I am just about out of plutonium, uranium. I've got enough juice in the tank to get one of us home. So I'm going to send you back to the present because I invited you here foolishly. And I'm just going to make my way through time for a while. So
I'm telling you just need to call on Falcor. He'll turn up. He'll get you home.
He'll flutter his lashes at me and then get stuff. Just get lost on me. So I don't know what's going to happen with me because I'm going to be, I think, floating in the abyss for a while. But at least I got my movies to keep me company. In the meantime, thank you so much for coming back. Really did appreciate it. Had a great time. For those listening in, please follow on Instagram. I was Teenage Film Snob with underscores between each word because, hey, why not? Instagram's kind of weird like that. You can listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and, of course, Anchor FM. And that's pretty much it. So, as I say every week, I was a teenage film snob, but I'm trying to be better. We'll see you next week.
Hey, guys, it's James. I am currently floating in a vast nothingness of space and time. If you have a way to send fuel to me, please do it. Otherwise, I will try to get home soon. I'm not sure where my time machine is going to take me next, but hopefully they've got movies there. And more importantly, hopefully they have fuel so I can get back to where I need to be. Stay tuned, and I'll be back soon.